Hi, this is Stephanie. Just a quick screener to show you this effect here. It's another example of the contrast between the background and the foreground. Here's an example of a person or an item that's kind of an element that's in the center of a photograph or a center of the slide, and I want to put emphasis on that particular element. So the guy in the chair, I want to make him stand out from the background. So this is just another approach to do that kind of thing. This is a three-dimensional spotlight effect with a clear bubble on top. So it works really well if the item that you want focus on is in the center of the slide or center of the image. If it's off center, it's not going to work so well. Now, after I created this effect, I realized that the bubble looked like a magnifying glass, so I played around a little bit and I created another slide. And all I did is I took this kind of dimmed effect that dimmed out the office scene. I removed that, I shrunk down the bubble, and I grabbed my rectangle tool and I made a handle with a gradient fill. And just like that, I created a magnifying glass, and I thought that was a really cool element. So I saved that out as a PNG file, and that's an element I'll reuse in other e-learning. And you can see actually another example here on my next slide. Here's a scene from a records management course. It's an interactive scene, a fire has happened, and a magnifying glass might be a cool effect there. Now, it's not truly magnifying, but it's giving the effect of a magnifying glass, and that was really easy to build. So let me show you how I did this. So I started with a photograph. Here's the guy in the office scene, and I just grabbed my rectangle tool from the drawing tools, and I wanted to draw a rectangle over the entire image or the entire slide if it happens to fill a slide. Right click, choose Format Shape, and we want to do a gradient fill. The gradient fill will be radial, and its direction is going to be from the center because we're going to be focusing from the center outward. There's going to be 3 gradient stops, and each stop is going to have a color of black, text 1, lighter 5%. Stop number 1 is the darkest part, the inner part of the 3 circles that are on here. Each stop represents one of the rings. So stop 1 is the center ring, and that's going to represent the actual area of focus. So you have to size that center ring so that it's large enough to encompass the area of focus. So I've been playing around with this. 43% is about right for my particular picture. If I increase the transparency to 100%, you can see that it seems quite large, but it's the next step you'll see that it actually cuts it in a little bit. It's just very hard to see. This is actually stop number 2 here. This is stop number 1. So it's actually just that ring's just kind of going around here. So if I go to stop number 2, I increase its position, or I change its stop position to 1% greater than whatever stop number 1 was. So stop 1 was 43%. Stop number 2 is going to be 44%. And you see it cuts it right in, and that in itself is a kind of a cool effect. We want to change the color to be the same black, and we want to increase the transparency a little bit, up to 20%, so we can see some of the office scene behind him. Stop number 3 is going to be the outer part of the image, and we want to also change the color to black. Its stop position is 100%, and its transparency is going to be whatever appeals to you. I'm going to brighten that office scene up quite a bit, about 90%. Click close and you're done. So that creates the effect, but it's a flat effect. So to create the three-dimensional aspect, what you want to do is just grab your circle tool, hold down the shift key, and draw a circle to cover the circle that's on the screen. So you don't have to be too precise here. You just want to make sure you cover the circle. So there you go. Right click, choose Format Shape. You want to fill that circle with a solid white. Then you want to remove its line color. Now if you're doing a magnifying glass, you'll want to keep the line and keep it as a solid, probably a gray color. But for now, no line. 3D format is going to be the top bevel is going to be a soft round. The width is 30 point. And the height is 15 point, just for extra emphasis. The bottom is also a bevel of circle, and the material is a translucent clear, and the lighting is a special 2 point. Click close, and that completes the effect. Now if you want to create the magnifying glass, all you need is just that last step, to draw a circle and do the bubble. You do not need the background. In fact, right now if I delete that rectangle with the gradient fill, you'll see I'm left with just a bubble. I can then move that bubble around, I can resize the bubble. And as we did on the other scene over here, I just drew a rectangle, I rotated the rectangle, and I filled it with a gradient. It's just a 3-stop gradient that creates a bit of a 3-dimensional bevel on that handle. And that's about it. So there you go, a spotlight effect for center focus and a magnifying glass.